Welcome to another session today of 5-pillar mobility. Today's session, we're taking our attention into the shoulders and the ankles. And we'll start by finding a comfy spot on your mat, face up, taking some attention to your breathing, and not worrying about your pace, just paying attention to it, noticing the pace of your breath, noticing the depth of your breath, noticing how that air is feeling as it enters your system. And as we work our way through this, and start directing that air into that lower abdomen, feeling that belly rise on the inhale, slowly letting go of that air through the nose on the exhale. And let's start to scan through the body, starting with those shoulders. On the next exhale, imagine softening through those traps, through those delts, through your pecs, through your lats. And just feel your upper body and your head and neck just sink a little closer into your mat. And on the next exhale, we'll focus in on the ankles, relaxing through those toes, through your feet, just feeling your ankles sink a little heavier into your mat. Let's take one more breath here. Take your time sighing out that breath. And we'll shift our attention to the left infraspinatus. So the infraspinatus spans the surface of your shoulder blade. Just spend some time panning along that shoulder blade, looking for what areas need attention. Then what we're looking for is not necessarily pain, anything that's tight or tense that needs some attention. And once you've found that spot, settle into the angle of pressure we're applying. Do some experimenting with how you're leveraging on top of that lacrosse ball and feeling out how much tension that tissue needs for today. And once you've settled in, focus back to your breath. Use your breath to calm your state of mind, and use your mind to calm that tissue. Just mentally go into your happy place, staying nice and chill, and just allowing yourself to enjoy the moment. Let's take one more breath here. Take your time sighing out that breath, and we'll transition to the right side. So if you found a good spot on the left, you can always start with that spot on the right. And if it's feeling about the same, use that as your target spot. If you don't have the same tension, do a little searching. Look for what needs attention on this side. Settle into the amount of pressure that we need and the angle to tackle that target tissue. And then settle back to your breath. Doing your best to sync your breathing with that infraspinatus. As you exhale air, imagine exhaling tension with it. Letting go of any stress, any tension, and turning off any muscles we don't need. So relaxing through the head and neck, your face, your brow. Just mentally go into your happy place. Every chance we get, circling back to your breath and finding that pace of breath that helps you slow things down and find calm. Let's take one more breath here. As you sigh out that breath, we'll take our attention to the left levator So levator is in the traps family. It's one of those muscles that works to elevate your shoulder blade. And it sits around the middle part, just above your shoulder blade. And if you're not an anatomy person, don't stress. Just look for any area above your shoulder blade that feels like it needs attention. And once you've found that spot, settle back to your breath. It can be helpful to move your shoulder into a typical position you struggle with, if that's overhead or in external rotation. Whatever that position is, find that posture you struggle with, and then take your attention back to your breathing. Use your breath to calm your head, and use your head to calm your body. Find that pace of breath that allows you to slow things down and just relax. Consciously working to find calm throughout your whole body. Let's take one more breath here. Take your time sighing out that breath. And we'll shift our attention to the right levator. So do some searching just above that right shoulder blade. And again, don't stress if you're struggling to figure out where your levator is. Just feel out what needs attention today. Once you've found an area that is tense, not moving well, or tends to restrict your movement, let that be your spot for today. Keep your attention there, and keep your attention on trying to relax that tissue through that pressure and through your breath. Mentally staying nice and chill. Keeping your attention on your breath. And again, you can move your arm through positions you tend to struggle with, whether that's overhead or a front rack or some combination. The best way to get familiar with your body is by experimenting with these positions, experimenting with the pressure, and paying attention to how your body's responding. Let's take one more breath here. You can slowly sigh out that breath. We'll move back to the left side, and we'll take our attention on your serratus anterior. So the serratus sits along the front side of your ribs, just beside your lats. So just below your armpit area. Again, if you're struggling to figure out where exactly that is, just search for something in the general area that needs attention or could benefit from some attention. And this is one of those areas that can restrict your overhead range. So if you move yourself into an overhead, it can be helpful to help free up that tissue in the position of restriction. And as you work your way through that tissue, pay attention to how the body's responding. If it's responding well, you can be a little more aggressive. Or if you're not in a good place to go aggressive today, you can just go as light as you like today. This is your workout, your stimulus, your ride. Choose that right stimulus that's going to give you the most benefit for today. Let's take one more breath here. Take your time sighing out that breath. And we'll move into the right side. So panning through that right serratus area. Again, you're looking for the front side of those ribs just beside your lats. As long as you're in the area, search for something in that area that needs attention. And focus your attention back on your breath. Use your breath to calm your mind. and doing your best to sync your breath with that target tissue. As you work your way through the program, you may find a slower breath tends to work better. And you can always track that by counting the time for an inhale, counting the brief hold, and then counting the exhale. If counting just adds stress to the process, then don't worry about it. It's just a nice way to be progressive through the program and track your progress. But we've got to progress at the right pace for you. Let's take one more breath here. You can slowly sigh out that breath. And we'll take our attention to the left first rib. So find yourself an upright or a door frame. We're going to tackle this first rib area through the pocket that sits just anterior to your traps, above your collarbone. And it's about the right size for most people to just fit a lacrosse ball in there and get some tension relief. And if that lacrosse ball doesn't fit nicely in there, you can just use the fingertips. Just be sensitive to how much tension and pressure your body needs today. If we get any pain or numbness or tingling, just ease off on that tension and pressure until you find that happy medium where you're starting to get that tissue to settle down. And if you've been working on this area regularly, you can go a little more aggressive, just paying attention to how that body's responding. And once you've found that stimulus, settle back to your breath. It can be useful to move your arm through an overhead range or positions you struggle with. Let's take one more breath here. You can slowly sigh out that breath. And we'll switch sides. So let's pan through that right first rib area. Being sensitive to how this side feels compared to the left. Being as aggressive as your body's telling you it needs. And doing your best to stay concentrated on your breath. Maintaining a nice calming rhythm with your breath. Directing that air into the lower abs, as if you were breathing into your belly button. And breathing through the nose if you can. Research has shown us that nasal breathing helps us reach that state of recovery and healing, that parasympathetic state. But if you're stuffy and the nose is not cooperating, feel free to mouth breathe. Just feel it out. Like everything else, pay attention to how your body's responding. Whatever's helping you find calm is the formula you need to follow. Let's take one more breath here. Take your time sighing out that breath. Then move into a left pipe external rotation. So grab your PVC pipe or a broom handle, and we'll grab that pipe with your left hand, bend it back, pull it across your body with your right arm into a front rack stretch. And just settle into the right amount of stretch for today. If this is a new stretch, be gentle, pay attention to how the body's responding to it. If you've been working through this position for a while, you can be a little more aggressive. Challenge yourself to find the outer limits of your range without diving into pain. And doing your best to keep that left side calm and relaxed and passive. In a few seconds, we will gently get active. Let's go ahead. So let's start by imagine rotating your pipe towards your midline, like you're arm wrestling. Slowly ramping up tension as we go. Keeping that stretch and resisting. Big tension here to finish up. 3, 2, 1. Let's actively try to pull that pipe further out to your left, using your left arm. Ramping up tension as we go. Really squeezing here towards the end. Challenge yourself. Last 3, 2, 1. Big breath out. Relax. Get nice and passive. Try to consciously let go of any tension on that left side. Using your breath to help you find calm. Turning off any muscle we don't need. Let's take one more breath here. Let's let go of that breath and we'll switch sides. Grabbing that pipe with your right arm. Bend it back, grab it in front with the left, pull across your body into a right side front rack stretch. And feel out the depth of stretch that your body's going to be okay with today. This is a new stretch, again, error on the side of going easy. You've been at this for a while, you can be a little more aggressive. Just always being in tune to your body's response. Consciously trying to stay as passive as we can through that right side. Being just as aggressive with your active left side as we need to be. And in a few seconds, we'll again get active by imagine arm wrestling that pipe towards your midline. And let's go ahead, active with both arms to try to rotate and resist, ramping up that tension as we go. And let's finish with big tension, really squeezing towards the end. 3, 2, 1. Let's gently reverse that, actively pulling that pipe further to your right with your right arm, actively pulling deeper into that stretch, ramping up tension as we go. Big tension here to finish up. Really squeeze. 3, 2, 1. Big breath out, relax. Nice and passive. Relax into that position as passive as you can through your right side. Being just as aggressive as we need to with the left to keep a decent stretch. Focusing back on your breathing. Staying passive through any tissue we don't need. Now move into a left toe extension. So if you got shoes on, best to take the shoes off. You can pause the video if you need to. Just work your way to your mat. There's a few ways to stretch those toes. We find one of the best ways is just by setting your feet flat on the floor and elevating your heel. And just pulling your heel up as far as you need to get that extension stretch through your toes. And being sensitive to how much range is pain-free. If you've got some good moving toes, feel free to be aggressive here. Just being sensitive to not diving into pain. And in about 10 seconds, we will get active. And as we get active, imagine pressing your toes through the floor to resist the stretch. And let's go ahead, starting nice and easy. Flexing through those toe muscles, slowly ramping up tension as we go. Let's really squeeze here towards the end, get some good tension. 3, 2, 1. Let's reverse that. Squeeze through the top side of your toes to actively try to pull deeper into the stretch. Squeezing harder as we work our way through. With really big tension here to finish up. 3, 2, 1. Let go of that breath. Get as passive as you can through that left foot, those left toes. Focus your attention back in your breath. If we're getting deeper into the stretch, it's by relaxing, not by forcing, into whatever pain-free range we have. Take one more breath here. Let's sigh that breath out, and we'll switch sides. So moving that right foot flat on the floor, pulling the heel up to stretch out those toes. Concentrating on staying passive through that foot, through the toes. Mentally staying in your happy place. Easing your way deeper into the stretch by relaxing. And keeping that pace of breath that helps you stay calm. And we will get active again shortly. Imagine pressing those balls of the feet through the floor. Let's go ahead, pressing those toes into the floor to resist the stretch. Ramping up tension as we go. Really squeezing here towards the end. 3, 2, 1. Let's gently reverse. Squeeze through the top side of your feet and toes to pull deeper into that stretch. Working with your pain-free range, being aggressive as we can here for these last 5. Really squeeze. 3, 2, 1. Let's let go of that breath. Get as passive as we can through those toes, through that foot, through the ankle. Letting your face relax, your traps. Letting go of any tension around your body that we don't need to hold this position. Take one more breath here. We'll slowly let go of that breath. And move into some left toe scrunches. So the idea here is imagine squeezing your toes forward into full flexion and then spreading them out into full extension, and then spreading your toes apart, and just keep cycling through that. And each rep, try to squeeze a little further into flexion, into extension, spreading the toes apart. Each rep, challenge yourself to come a little further into your end range, into your pain-free range of motion. And last 15 seconds, let's really try to be aggressive. Making a ball with your toes and then fully extending them out as far as they'll go. Spread them apart. Really squeeze through this last rep. And let's switch sides. So with your right foot, scrunching those toes up into a ball, pulling them tight together, and then extending them and trying to reach them out towards their outer limits. And again, each rep, challenging yourself to come a little deeper into that stretch. Finding new range with each rep. Being conscious to how the body's responding. This can feel strenuous, but we don't want any joint pain or discomfort. Just keep chipping your way. Last 15 seconds, let's really make those toes work. Scrunch them in tight. Extend them out far with everything you got, really squeezing. Let's finish off this last rep with some good force. And you can let go of that breath. And that is the end of today's routine. Thanks so much for coming out today, guys. Hope those shoulders are feeling great. Hope your feet are feeling better. If you liked the video, remember to subscribe and like. We'll see you again tomorrow. Have a great day.